Hey, good morning. We're live. Hey, we're live. Hey, good morning. It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, and I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And today, I want to say one thing. Yay! SpaceX landed their spaceship. You know, we talk about that every once in a while because it's very agile in how they're thinking, learning from it. Now they finally have a rocket they can learn from. They landed the Starship vertically, if you haven't seen it, but I was trying to check on YouTube before I started the show, see if I could see it, but it was too dark. So I have to wait a little bit, make sure I can still see the spaceship standing vertical, and then I would guess claim it a success. So I hope it's still there. Crossing my fingers, but they landed vertical. It's pretty awesome. And they used two engines like I said they should use from the beginning and start vertical higher up in the sky instead of like trying to do it at the last minute. No, I don't know what I'm doing, but it sure did sound like what I said. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Agile and IR35. I have a connection, David Richardson from the UK, who I commented yesterday about how HR failed and in the training of contractors versus FTE. And he says it wasn't necessarily a fail. There's limitations, but I would, yes, but no. But we'll talk about that. And we're going to say how Agile and IR35 are actually the perfect pairing of methodology and a government bureaucratic tax issue thing in the UK. Probably has the same kind of connotations other places in the world. And some warnings out there for those people who are hiring contractors. So this Agile stuff will help you. And then that's what we're going to talk about today, and just celebrating that. And Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach, here on the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, we talk about Agile and Scrum in a practical and tactical way so you can bring value to your customer, get home to family or friends, maybe drink a margarita like I got to do last night for Cinco de Mayo, and have some fun at work, enjoy, and not work crazy hours, right? And this is our 614th episode of the show. And I'm going to put this up. I got my little notepad where I got my little notes I want to talk about. Because the show is only 15 minutes long. It's at that. Sometimes it's a lot shorter. So, when I was researching, I always like to research. When someone asks me a question, I'm like, okay, what is this IR35? I didn't know about IR35. When I talked yesterday about how I think HR is doing their companies a disservice by not coming up with some kind of basics training for their contractors alongside their FTE. I think contractors should train too and learn how to do it. Where IR35 says you cannot, like if you're a contractor, it's very clear. And I can see it probably in the States. There's a very clear differential between being a contractor and being a full-time employee because of tax purposes. People don't want to have to pay into the taxes for Social Security here in the States, and I guess the same thing goes on there in the UK. So what they do is they say they can't do nothing. They can't train you, can't do nothing, which is not necessarily true, but we'll go with it. And also they say you can't, as a contractor, which I thought was funny. I posted a link to his comment in LinkedIn was, don't host any Christmas parties. Because that would be a violation of IR35. So if you're a contractor, you can't host the parties at your office. Interesting thought. So why do I say this? It says you cannot tell contractors what to do exactly. And I do believe, from what I understand in the past, that those same rules apply in the States. I see a lot of companies violate those rules. Even the federal government violates those rules sometimes because they're like, oh, I want so-and-so. You can't ask for so-and-so. You can ask the company. The company can figure out who they want to be, but you can't ask for somebody by name. So why do I say this IR35 is it's an interesting pairing with Agile? But I see a lot of companies mess it up. Every company I've ever seen. So come on, Betty. Jump it up. Come on, you got room right here. Here, bed. Dog's sitting there staring like she's going to jump up on the couch. Anyway, so when you have a Scrum team, right, you have a sprint backlog, right? So the backlog is legit. It's like a contract. Here's the things we want you to work on. This is what we want you to do. We want you to build this. We're not going to tell you how to do it exactly how. Agile is so perfect because it's supposed to be self-organizing. Therefore, it matches the IR35. They are so supposed to figure out what to do. So if you have a team that's a mix of FTE and contractors, Agile, Scrum specifically, maybe in Kanban, are like the perfect things because you know why? You got to leave it up to the team to pick what work they want to do. I see a lot of tech leads will go like, well, Joe's going to do it. Jane's going to do it. Billy Bob or Mohammed, they're going to do that thing. Technically, you're not allowed to ask that or say that in those meetings. So in a Scrum, when someone's done their work, they can pick from the backlog any one of the items in the backlog and work it, right? That fits perfectly with IR35. So in a real Agile team where it's self-organizing and everybody on the team decides what they want to do, perfectly matches up with IR35 because you're not telling them what to do. You're not instructing them specifically do this task. They volunteer and pick the task they want to do. They're not named out. And yeah, the system says assign, but you just ignore that. But they pick out the work. So in a real good Scrum team, that helps you meet the IR35. So if you're a corporation, you really want to be Scrum and you want to tell everybody, hey, I just want a backlog for the sprint and I want the people on the team to pick what work they want to do and for them to task out the work. So that's another kicker, right? A lot of times these tech leads, they're like, well, I'll write all the tasks for them to do. You cannot do that according to IR35. You cannot write the taskings to instruct the person on how to build a solution. You just say, this is what I want. They have to figure it out in order to meet IR35. So again, Agile is beautiful. Come on, Betty, jump up. IR35 is beautiful because, and Agile is beautiful for it because by law, by law, they have to decide how to come up with the answer. Therefore, they write their tasks that they want to do in the system, and you can perfectly honestly track those tasks in your board. Perfectly legit, right? Because they're reporting out to the customer how the progress is going. So Agile, Scrum, and maybe Kanban, because Kanban you can pick, it's kind of different. But Scrum definitely is a perfect match for any corporation meeting IR35. And I just want to thank David Richardson for bringing that to light because it just made it more important to be doing it this way versus a waterfall environment because you can't name names. They have to pick it. They pick what they're doing. They write their tasks in Agile and Scrum, and they manage themselves. Self-organizing. Self-organizing helps you stay in compliance with IR35. Now, the little caveat with the training part, I really recommend what you can do is you can say, hey, if you're going to work on our contracts, we expect everybody to have a basic level of Agile training and just a self-promotion. You know, I see Agile. We do a Agile fundamentals class. I teach it, the ICP class. Why can't you? Why can't you have cert? You can request a cert. You can request a certain level of professional certification from the people. Because technically you're not even allowed to look at resumes. You can look for the cert though. So even though you can't train people underneath the IR35, you can ask for that basic cert. And by having that cert, you know, at least they took a class. They should know something, so they don't have an excuse not to know. And they can understand that class will teach you the basics of Agile and how different kinds of Agile processes work in case you use Kanban or Scrum or XP or something. So there is a lot of the basics are covered in it. So if I was an HR thing, I'd say one of the things that people are going to work in our group expect something like a IC Agile fundamentals, the ICP course. That's what I would do. And if they want to do, because you don't have to worry about it from a Scrum Master perspective. And there's somebody's on that commenting. Yes, good morning. You can do it the other way. You can, for Scrum Masters, they have a cert. So you just hire Scrum Masters that have a cert. They got a certification, you can hire them. And that helps you stay in compliance too. So anyway, that's what I have for today. I want to wish SpaceX happiness and joy because they landed, and I'm just going to say this one. Jeff Bezos, when that sucker landed, can you imagine the curse words coming out of his mouth? He'd be like, because they were trying to protest. They're still trying to protest SpaceX winning the lunar landing shot for $2.9 billion. And SpaceX getting it because they're demonstrating they can do this and it works and they have the technology and they're launching spaceships every day. Working software is king. It really is king. I don't care what you do. Working software is king, period. End of story. Just like cash. Cash and working software. Those are the kings. And it landed. I could just see it because now they're going to say, what are you going to protest? They just freaking landed the damn thing vertical. What have you done? You know, they're way more advanced and they have a working prototype. They landed twice. That protest is sunk, right? And he knows it. They land that sucker again for a second time in a repeat fashion. Gone. Just sunk. Anyway, he can try, but the fact that it landed, I can see Jeff Bezos just going, but I'm being nice because someone's watching and I have to be good. But yeah, he would be cursing up a storm. Anyway, good luck, SpaceX. Happy you landed. I'm trying to get my daughter to go join you and go to the moon later on, 10 years from now. We'll see. All right. Have a good day. Give us a thumbs up if you like the show. I know I meandered at the end there, but that's okay. Ring the little bell if you like our show. And you all take care and have a great day. Happy scrumming. Bye. See ya.